Right then, yeah, okay. Let's get stuck in. Thank you, Stu. All right then, King Arthur is complete fiction. Well, that's what a lot of people thought, and actually, that's what I thought until I came across Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett. I first saw Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett on Rich Planet TV. As we all know, Richard D. Hall is the host of Rich Planet TV, and he had Alan Wilson on there, and Alan Wilson was pretty much saying that the Welsh records acknowledge King Arthur as a real historical figure. And I mean, I think I was I took the news. Yeah, the irony. It's crazy, isn't it? I took the news that King Arthur was a real historical figure as complete rubbish, quite frankly. I was very much like yourself and Taffy the Mongo. I took it with a pinch of salt. But then Richard D. Hall kept on having Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett back on the show. And what they said made sense. And of course, I brought all their books. I got the King Arthur, the War King, and I got I got all the books I could on Alan Wilson, Baron Blackett. And as an intelligent man, which, listen, I put my hand up and say, yes, I'm an intelligent man. I'm intelligent as the next man, as intelligent as the next man. I read their books and I came to the conclusion that they were onto something. Everything they said was backed up with archaeological evidence. French fiction writer wrote the whole thing, Camelot, Arthur, Lancelot, etc. I agree that they're French. I call what we know about King Arthur as French romantic rubbish from the 14th century. But of course, King Arthur was alive in the 5th, 6th century, born 503 AD on Christmas Day, South Wales, Glamorgan. So I totally agree with you, Stu. What we know about King Arthur is based on 14th century French fiction writer bullshit. And that's what Hollywood bases their story of King Arthur on, French fiction writer bullshit. But of course, the real story of King Arthur is based on the Welsh records, Welsh poems, Welsh chronicles, which the establishment acknowledge are there, but the archaeological historian establishment call those records false. They claim it is all an 18th century forgery, which of course Alan Wilson, Baron Blackett debunked. So yes, Stu, I totally get what you're saying because I felt the same way. But having researched to my satisfaction, I've now come to the conclusion that King Arthur II was a real historical figure. And when I say the second, I specify that point because, as we all know, with kings and queens, we've had 2 Elizabeths, we've got 3 King Charles. In the same way, there's been 5 King Arthurs. King Arthur I was the grandson of Emperor Constantine, the son of Magnus. And King Arthur II, born Christmas Day 503 AD, South Glamorgan, Wales, is the king we identify with at the moment. He was the king who fought the Saxons. King Arthur I fought the Romans. But King Arthur II fought the Saxons, united the kingdom. He brought in the Summer Games, the Round Table, Camelot. So it's all there for the taking, and all you have to do is read Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett. And of course, then Ross Broadstock came along, and he felt the same way. Much the same with me. He heard about Alan Wilson on the Richard D. Hall show. He looked into it, and he came to the same conclusion. So thank you, Stu, but I do find it interesting how after asking, and this is very, and I'm not going to beat you up for it, okay? I just think it illustrates perfectly what mindset you have. So after asking whether your comments can be seen or not, are my comments still blocked? You realise they aren't, so whack, come in with the slap, with that, you know, King Arthur is complete fiction. And mind you, Stu Infinity, for the first time actually, I think maybe you could be the Mr. Degenerate, because he uses the minions, doesn't he?